Hello everyone and welcome again to our channel. Today I want to share with you an easy way to compost. There are so many different ways you can compost. There's cold composting, hot composting, and then vermicomposting. Now I'm going to show you our compost bin. Watch this.
So we are right next to my compost bin, and there are many different styles of compost bins and uh, ways you can build it yourself or just make a pile and have it in that section. Um, there is a method to composting. I do not follow the methods of composting anymore. I used to, and I just like forget it because you have to have a certain measurement of green versus brown. Me, I'm at that point in my life where I'm like, you know what? I believe, and it's just me, I believe that you can compost anything. And when it comes to composting, basically the method is having enough green to brown, which is like fresh leaves, fresh grass, fresh vegetable scraps and fruit scraps and used coffee grinds. That's considered green. Brown is considered dry leaves, dry grass, weeds, and all that kind of stuff. And wood chips, sometimes they do consider green and brown. All depends. But I'm at that point in my life because, like, in order to have a hot compost, it has to be a right measurement, has to be at a right temperature. So they do have temperature readers for that, for soil temps and compost, your compost and all that, compost and whatnot. But I got to the point of my favorite way of compost is cold composting, and also trench composting. But vermicomposting is also is a mix. I'm gonna say a mixed message. Okay. The reason why I say that because if you're cold composting, you're actually also vermicomposting, which we don't really talk about. Cold composting is basically, yes, you turn the soil just like when you do hot composting, right? At a certain time. But cold composting is actually where you can just have opportunities of leaving it alone and let it stay in the pile and um, let it reduce itself and then add more food scraps. Vermicompost is similar, The only thing is you got your red wigglers or earthworms as you can see here. I don't know if I killed it or not because I had it in my hand smashed, but it's not moving anymore. Let's see. Oh, it actually moving. I'm sorry, y'all. It's moving. I had it in my hand like this, so it won't get out of my hand. But vermicomposting is similar. And here is my bin. Now, it was smoking just a few minutes ago when I like moved it a little bit. But it is food scraps in here. But I'm gonna get back to what I want to show you. And this is my favorite way of composting. It's trench composting. You can trench compost it anywhere in your garden. And if you have a raised bed, if you have containers, it doesn't really matter. And I'm gonna put this earthworm. It may be a red wiggler. I'm not sure because I used to vermicompost, and I stopped because it's rules even with that because dealing with temperatures, worms don't like cold climate. Really, they like a moist climate, but they cannot survive in like a when you vermicompost outside. They cannot survive in a bin under 65 degrees, so you have to bring them indoors if you're going to do a vermicomposting setup. And that's what has been said. I don't know if that is still the same case. I do not know, but all I do know is they like a moist environment. And so usually when you vermicompost, you will take your food scraps and you'll put them in a in the side of a bin, and they will come to this section where the food is, and then they will go to the opposite side of that container and do their thing, and do their thing, and that's how you get your earthworm castings and whatnot. But vermicompost is similar. Vermicompost is you just digging a hole in your area of your garden, and you will take whatever food scraps you have, okay? Whatever you have. I don't know what this is. Anyway, oh, mango pills. Whatever you have, and you'll place it into the soil. Now, again, you'll take like whole, like this is no good carrots, right? That we got from we asked from we got from the grocery store that was slimy and whatnot. And you could take the carrots and do the same thing. But I'm gonna show you something else that you can do very
So
quick.
many of you have heard that I like to juice, and juicing is very important to our body. It actually helps you to get the nutrients in your body quicker than eating, your cooked vegetables or fruit or whatnot. But I'm gonna put this down so I won't break the glass. Um, it's very important, to juice if you have one. And I found out that a quicker way to trench compost or vermicompost to get your worms to actually be able to digest the food quicker is taking your parade pulp from juicing, okay, right here, as you can see. This is where we juiced from, and I have it in that bag. And actually place it into the soil when you trench composting or you're doing your vermicomposting. I love to trench compost, guys. Now you can find a designated spot and keep it there and keep doing the same thing over and over, and this will actually actually turned to earthworm castings within a month or so, okay? And so what we're going to do, as you can see, here it is. That hole is not big enough, but it's there, okay? I'm going to show you how to do this very quickly. We'll be right back.
You can do this in a raised bed. You can trench compost in the ground, basically, in containers. I have done it numerous of times, and I want to show all my new YouTube family members who are new to our channel or even not subscribed to our channel to take advantage of this. This is something that can help you in your garden. It will save on costs when it comes to purchasing earthworm castings. A lot of people don't realize that earthworm castings is expensive. If you have a gallon size bag, a 1 cubic bag, or you went to a earthworm casting facility to get a yard, 2-3 yards of earthworm castings, doesn't really matter. It's expensive no matter what. And this is an easy way to remove your green waste out of your home or wherever you're doing. Now, like I told you, red wigglers, earthworms, they love food scraps. They love sweet. For some reason, they love banana peels. I don't know why. Bananas. They love sweet fruit and all that kind of stuff. So whatever you have, you can waste it. And so I have in this here, and it's some banana peels, some bananas in here that was left over from little NJ snack. But I'm gonna put this in here, and as you can see, it's there. Now, one of the things they do love too is, crushed eggshells. I don't have that right now, but I do have used coffee grinds. And for those who drink coffee, what you can do is basically take your used coffee and basically allow it to dry out, okay, on your counter. On your counter, whatever you have, and basically put it in a Ziploc bag, okay, a freezer bag. And what you do is you then save it, okay, when you need it in your garden, just do what I'm doing now, okay? You don't have to waste. And this is some grass here, okay, you see here, okay? But one of the secrets, I'm gonna tell you one of my secrets, what I like to do in the fall, winter months. And this is, even if you have this now, this will help you get more worms. For some reason, red earthworms or red wigglers or composting worms, whatever you want to call them, they love used coffee grinds, right? So what I do in the fall and winter months, I go to my local coffee shop and ask for the used coffee grinds. They get it for free. Okay, where just ask if if you're not a coffee drinker. You can even use your tea bags and use that as well to compost in, actually. But used coffee grinds is actually number one. What you do is layer, okay, layer it after you think done your thing in your garden. If you're gonna do trench compost after you dug a hole and put the food scraps, layer some of this on top, right? Like I'm doing here. This for example. Then you want to take your dry crushed leaves from the fall, all right? Make sure if you have a lawnmower with the bag, crush those leaves up, right? Layer it on top. Guys, within a few weeks, especially if you have a raised bed or like you already have red wigglers or earthworms into your like this type of setting here, which we do, and then what you're going to do is basically you're going to see when the couple of weeks you're going to see nothing but worms. When you dig into the soil, you're going to see nothing but worms all over, devouring those crushed leaves, those food scraps, and everything that you have placed into your bed. I'm telling you for a fact, it works. You're going to see great results in your raised beds. Now, if you want a designated place, there is companies who make certain things for your red wigglers or earthworms. Like it's called this thing. They got this new gadget out there called the Sub Pod, and it's like a new gadget they have been used for a couple of years now, where you can place it. It's like a little box. You can place it in one area of your raised bed or in the ground, whatever you're doing, and basically you'll take your food scraps and it's like almost like a worm bin, but it's basically to be placed underneath. It works, okay? Whatever you want to do, it works. There's so many different methods. Some people take PVC pipe, put 1/4 inch holes in it for their red wigglers, and make a tube and put their food scraps in that. Like I said, there's so many ways of vermicomposting or composting in place, or we call it trench composting, the actual terminology. But guys, I just want to show you how you can do this, okay? Now, for those who are interested in this composting, I'm gonna take my whole food scraps and I'm gonna show you what I'm gonna do now with that.
Okay, guys, so basically, I already added most of all the food scraps. You can't see it in here now that we had left over, but I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna show you. All you do, okay, you can layer on top of this and then add your leaves, whatever you have, or you could just do this, dig a little trench, place it there, and it's frozen, y'all, because that was in the freezer. My peelings. I put some of my whole food scraps in the freezer sometimes and just let it be. And then you just want to cover it up, back up, okay. And this is just dead stuff. I think this was something that was growing in the garden, and you just basically cover it up. That's it. That's all you gotta do when you compost, or you can just layer on top and just let it be. But you want to be careful if you live in a suburban area, urban area in the city where you have raccoons, rodents, and all that kind of stuff. You want to cover it back up. For me, that's what I do. Okay, just dig a little trench and just cover back up. You might get lizards, all that kind of stuff where you are. So be mindful of that. But the fastest way to compost, okay, for your food scraps is basically pureeing, using a food processor, pureeing it, take a little liquid and put in your food processor or blender and puree it. Or you can have if you have a juicer like I do, take your pulp from your fruit and all that kind of stuff that you have, juiced, and then save it, okay, in a 5-gallon container or a gallon bag, freezer bag, wherever you have. Place it in the freezer or your refrigerator. Label it as compost, okay. And then when you are about to compost and you don't have no room in your refrigerator or freezer, dig this hole like I'm doing here. Dig that hole, okay. Make sure you don't bother this area here, with that plant or whatever you're growing. But dig a place wherever in your garden and just put that food scrap right in that area. Cover it back up and leave it alone. You can even put your chicken manure, your steer manure, whatever you got in that garden, in whatever you have, and it could be fresh, it could be not fresh, and just leave it alone. And the worms will do the rest. That's what I love about trench composting, vermicomposting. You basically get
a great reward from both. And I believe that vermicomposting is trench composting and trench composting is vermicomposting. I just believe that with the mixture of cold composting. So cold composting and vermicomposting, to me only, I'm just saying, is all in one umbrella. Okay, this excluding hot composting, because I think hot composting is kind of torturous when it comes to the earthworms, but they probably can hold their own. I don't know, but I'm just saying. But we're not saying that we're killing them, but I don't know what happens to them because I don't live in that kind of type of environment. But if you want fast results, do hot compost. If you want slow results and you don't mind being patient, because it takes six months to a year for that to actually degrade, depending on how much you're composting and what you're using, it will work. And the reason why I really do love the compost, I'm gonna tell you right
My
now.
favorite way of composting is cold composting, then is trench composting, and then vermicomposting. I look at that as actually one whole composting web. Now, many of you may want to follow the strict rules of composting in a compost bin and doing cold, green versus the brown and all that kind of stuff. That's great with the measurements of having being equal parts. I don't follow that rule anymore. I just got sick of it, to be honest with you. I got tired of it. And my favorite way, as I told you, is trench composting like that. But you have to decide on what you want to do and what will best fit your need. If you need, you need to follow the rules, follow those rules. Do what is that is told. Me personally, I like experimenting in our garden, okay? So, but for fast results when it comes to whole food scraps, if you want to get fast results, I suggest you take you puree you puree your vegetable scraps in a blender, food processor, or if you have a juicer like I do, when you finish juicing, go ahead and take that and put it into your compost bin, guys, okay? And that will get you quick results. Or you can do a trench composting method like I just did, or you can put this in your vermicomposting bin. I'm NJCALI Gardener, guys. I want to say thank you all for watching. Thank you for being a part of our family. If you're subscribed to our channel, and if you're not subscribed to our channel, please go ahead and subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you may get updates on when we post our videos here on YouTube. Until next time, shalom, shalom, peace to you all.